What up, y'all? How we doing? How's your what the fuck day is it? Monday. How's your Monday going? We're here live. We got a special guest in the house. You guys could hear us chatting there for a second, so that's funny. Um, but yes, this is Behind the Avatar. And make sure you guys head on over to metaSKINZ.io and pick yourself up. Oops, wrong screen. Leaking stuff all over the place. Pick yourself up a founder key, show some love, show some support, and get some cool stuff coming your way for the sandbox and all kinds of other stuff in the future. But today, we are going to be talking with the one and only Tuschay. And if I can find the right button, which I can, we're going to bring you on. What's up, brother?
What's going on, everybody? I guess yeah. I guess we already all know each other, kind of. But how's it going, everybody? Nice to see everybody here.
Yeah,
Thanks for having
it's
me on the show, dude. By the way, I like what you're doing here with this show. It's cool to get people on a more laid back interface, and like not talking directly about you know. I don't know. I think we come up with different questions when we're talking to other people.
yeah, yeah, for sure. I'm really loving it. I like you said, like the open conversation and not really knowing where it's gonna lead, but just having a long form conversation. I feel like it just leads to some interesting things, and usually, I always feel like I learn something coming away from the show. So
Yeah.
I'm assuming everyone in the crowd does the same. So by the way, shout out chat. You know me, I am not great at keeping up with y'all, but I see you guys in here.
I'll do my
Pre-
best. I'll help you
appreciate
out here.
yeah, appreciate you all for being here. I need a Jamie or whatever you want to call him to help out one of these days. But yeah. So you appreciate me having you on. I appreciate you for being here. Let's start the podcast out like I always do, and just give us a brief origin story for those of some people
How,
maybe don't know you in the
sure.
chat, but this will be replayed over other places too.
How
So yeah,
how far back do you want me to go?
that's really up to you. We don't have to go super far back. If there's anything interesting or cool in your past, you can just
Yeah,
maybe
I mean,
sneak it in there. But
I can sum up everything up until Touche Studios by saying I grew up in New York, moved to Florida. It sucked. I lived there, and I lived 14 years in both places. Then I moved out to the West Coast. Lived out here, been out here for about 4 years, 5 years now. And it's been awesome. When I moved out here, I decided to kind of do my own thing. I worked for I did marketing for a very long time, and I was out here doing cannabis marketing. So I was working with a bunch of different cannabis companies, kind of doing their packaging design and all that, and really enjoyed it. But the
nice.
pandemic hit, clients fell out, a bunch of stuff happened, and yeah, basically we were just exploring the world. And one of my friends texted me randomly. I hadn't heard from her in a while, and she was like, "Hey, have you heard about this NFT thing? I think your art would be awesome for it." And I was like, no, let me look into it. Like I'll see what's going on." And at the time, I was moving from Oregon to Seattle, and so I was like kind of in the middle of moving and just looking at it on my off time. And in the process of that 1 week of moving I've been in, I knew about crypto for a long time, but I wasn't really like heavily involved in it. Like my friends and I dabbled in it back when we were in our early 20s and kind of just trying to figure out what this internet money was.
Yeah.
And it was a cool concept, and obviously we all wish we would have done more back then. But
Right.
it was kind of just like at the same time you kind of think back and it's like we couldn't have we didn't have money to invest into
Right.
this stuff, so it's
Yeah.
like we can't beat ourselves up too much about it. It's like it's not like we didn't all say at the same time like I wish my parents would just give me $1,000 so I could put it into this stuff. It's like, but that kind of all led to I had about something like 100,000 Dogecoin that I had bought as a joke to my friends, and I sent it to I got these little paper wallets that I had created, and I think I had like 1 million Doge. That was, I swear, it cost me like $10. Maybe like $100. No, maybe like $50 at the most. and like I bought this $1 million Doge. No, it couldn't have been more than like $10. I don't even know. Someone fact checked me. um, so I made 10 of these little paper slips, and I put 100,000 on each one, and I gave them all to each of my friends as a joke for Christmas. And I think what it was is the value of each slip ended up being like $7 or something like that. It was like
Sure.
something that you wouldn't think about or whatever. Um, and so I on in the process of moving over to Seattle, I found a box that had one of those slips in it, and it was worth 6 grand. And I was like, "Holy shit!" Like I have no money in my bank, like nothing. You know, I'm in the middle of moving. Everything's like, how the hell are we gonna survive? Like in Seattle now, you know, in the middle of like this marketing company's like dwindling, and I'm like, what do I do? And found the 6 grand, and I'm like, oh, okay, wow, this is like awesome. So
Hell yeah.
I used that to basically create. I got into ETH at that point. I turned that into ETH. Got into. I don't know if anybody knows a foundation. They're a marketplace, an NFT marketplace,
Yeah.
primarily for like one of one art. And so I got involved with them. I started hanging out in their Discord. They made me a mod, and so I got really like close with the people involved. Sold a couple of paintings for what at the time was like life changing money, which was like point 0.1 ETH, and it
Yeah.
was like, that's gonna get me to pay my bills, and like I don't have to work for a little bit longer, and so that kept on happening a little bit, and then found out about the sandbox. Got involved with the well. At first, it was funny because I accidentally got into the Game Maker Fund. Actually, what I was when I want to, yeah, yeah, yeah. Because so I went to the website and I went to the button to like create stuff, and so I downloaded Vox Edit and Game Maker, and then I went to go press the button to publish to the marketplace in Vox Edit, and it said like I didn't have the rights or something, and it spit me to a page of like sign up here if you want to have the rights. And I was like, okay, like, and I just thought I was like just trying to sign up to like be able to do stuff on their marketplace.
Right.
And then, but it asked me a bunch of questions about like what could I bring to the sandbox, and I was like, I don't know, the fun guys. Like I've been working with these cartoons for a while, and like I have all these stories for them and everything. And I was like, I just filled out this form, just like trying to figure out why they wanted so much information. And a week later, I got an email from Seb that was like, "Hey, do you want to join the Game Maker Fund? Like, your project sounds great for it." And I was like, "Sure, let's do it." And then paperwork started happening, and I joined the Game Maker Fund. And I was like, "This is incredible! Now I don't have to work because now I'm getting,
Right.
help support from the sandbox and everything." And yeah, I kept doing that. About 6-7 months into development of the game, things were getting pretty crazy. Like I won a couple game jams at the same time, and so I was like, this is pretty cool. Like it was going from like having no money at all to like all of a sudden I could like maybe get an employee, and so I hired Wayward around that same time. She like reached out to me. She's like, "Hey, I like your project. I could definitely make some art for it." And I was like, I was doing at the time I had made like 200 assets for the game, and I was scheduled to do like 300. And I was like, "Oh, I need help. Like, there's so much to do around here." And so she like reached out at the perfect time, and I was like, "Yes, let's do it. Like, help me out." And so that was basically the beginning of expanding the team. And so now we're about I got Mr. Gnarls, who's like my longtime best friend,
Nice.
to join me, and then we're about 4 people now, and we're hoping to grow like exponentially right now at this point. Hopefully, so
Heck
it's been
yeah.
a crazy ride.
Dude, that's a wild story. That's probably one of the more unique ways of getting involved with the sandbox that I've heard so far. So that's
It just,
a
I
great
mean,
great
no,
coincidence.
no, no small feats to the community, right? Like a big part of that was like I joined the Game Makers Fund and immediately wanted to like find out more information, right? And so I reached out to like, where can I find videos on this? And it obviously took me to Twitch and then Andy Ritchie, and then we
Uh-huh.
started hanging out almost daily. From like it was like, I mean, 2 weeks later we were on daily Discord calls, and both of us bouncing ideas back and forth. It's like it's crazy. I mean, the community around this project is not something to take for granted, you know.
Totally. I feel like that's one thing that me as a founder of a project as well. I I think like my mindset was because I've been an entrepreneur for a while and like I was kind of still in like the web 2 mindset of like I need to I need to do this all myself and like figure out it all
Yeah.
and like and like I mean I got people to help out where I needed it but like that I think that's such a big sentiment around the web 3 ethos of web 3 is that it can be a huge community um, of support that you have if you embrace that and I've learned to embrace it. I think I was so focused on what I was doing that I wasn't really paying attention to the community that was being formed and I mean I kick myself for it but I mean what can you do now except for like I said embrace it and move forward with it so like I love the
No,
same thing.
I think that's a huge challenge. You know, I think honestly, I've never worked with people to this capacity before. I think that it's something that you know I think a lot of us feel the same way, where it's like if we can do it, we will do it ourselves. You know, we
Mm-hmm.
grew up in kind of like that mentality, and you know we're not wrong. You know that is the way to like grow things efficiently, and you know what you're capable of, and as a company, you know you want to focus on those things that are within your skill set if you're trying to like really have some sort of impact on the company, right? Otherwise, it's like kind of let loose. But it's like I think if we start letting go of some of these things, it's like and trust people for their creative roles in there. Um, it's amazing. I actually didn't. I thought it would be stressful, and instead, it's as liberating as. I mean, it's amazing to just sit there and be able to actually function as like a kind of like a good like community, right? Within a small subset of that. It's like we really, you know, I really try to focus on making sure that whoever's on the team is like, you know, really chill with each other. Everyone's getting along, like everything's cool. And it creates this like you're almost playing Legos with your friends back in the day. It's not
Right.
really like we're working at a company, you know? And I think that environment is something that I hope doesn't go away anytime soon, but
Mm-hmm.
it's what I think is fostering so much creativity at the moment. Where it's like, you know, I can remember a time where I was playing with my friends with Legos. It's like, hey, I do this, and it's like we're creating these really cool things, and all of a sudden you go back, and then the next day you have even cooler things to talk about, and it's the same thing we're doing now, but with different building blocks. And I think
Totally.
it's amazing. It's a way to. It's something that obviously we could have never, I think, predicted that would happen, but it's like as it's happening, we're realizing that we're all just playing around like kids again. And so a lot of people don't really understand what we're doing because you know, and it's hard. I don't know if you guys have this problem too, but like I can't wake up in the morning and play a video game and think that I'm doing any work that day. Like I feel lazy immediately.
Same.
And it's a weird feeling to have to wake up and play video games because your brain immediately goes to this isn't I should be doing something productive right now and you're going I am doing something productive right now but I my brain wants to hate me for it, you know, and
Uh-huh.
it's all these things I think we grew up finding out like video games are bad for your brain or like either that or like video games or what are you doing all day playing video games and all and like I myself would put myself into limits when I was, you know, working a job or work going to school or something. But I can't play video games until it's dark out, you know?
Mm-hmm.
And to this day, I feel that impacting me. Like when I have to go in and like there's a game jam going on and I'm gonna judge the game jam games. And I feel weird waking up at 9 in the morning and going, all right, I'm gonna play some games because I have to get this list done. My brain is fighting me the entire time, and it's something that we have to like unteach ourselves in order to kind of be able to progress with that. It's very strange. I've never experienced anything like this, but it's an awesome experience too. You know.
For sure. Yeah, I resonate with that a lot, and it's like, and it still is hard for me. I mean, I ended up having to unquit my my job and go back to working another job, but but I'm still doing metaSKINZ on the side. But like the like playing the video game and building it. Like I always had like a weird resistance around it because
Yeah.
I felt like like there was other things that I should be doing to like build the brand and build the business. But at the end of the day, like should have just been fucking building the whole time because that is the brand, that is the business, and it was hard to get that to click. I mean, it took over a year and a half, and I still am starting to get it to click. But yeah,
Well, and I
it's
mean,
weird.
and it's not easy. I mean, like, let's be honest. Like, over the last like year, we all kind of learned a lesson that it's all not going to be uphill,
Right.
and fun games. And so, like, the tough will survive here. And I think the interesting thing is that it doesn't so much rely on your abilities, or so much so as how well you can tell a story and how well you can sustain the energy to tell that story, right? Because there's not a lot of complications to being able to build these games. Let's be honest. Like,
Right.
we can all kind of do this if we put our minds to it. But what's really going to make people stand out is how long are you willing to do this while things aren't going well?
Uh-huh.
Because that really is going to make the impact when things do go well. And it's all like, we're all kind of playing these like gambling game developer roles, right? Where
Yeah.
we're like not really sure if our games are even going to be played by anybody, because it doesn't necessarily rely on just us. Let's be honest, we don't all have the marketing that, you know, some other companies might, even
Uh-huh.
some indie companies. How many games do you see on Steam right now that are like less than $1 that no one plays? You know
Yeah.
what I mean?
Yeah.
And so we have to be conscious of the fact that, our community is our core audience at the
Uh-huh.
moment.
hundred
And
percent.
and what we do with that community and how we really foster those relationships and what they say to their friends and how that word gets spread is really what we're trying to grow here. It's pretty much only about that, because if without that there's nothing else. There's no one that's going to play these games, and if no one's playing these games, it's like, you know we can wear a crown in an empty room, but what are you king of? Like, so it's like, we have to be really conscious of this. And so it's like, I think the community behind this is really something that we all have to like really pay attention to, and try to foster growth within that. Try to figure out how to reach out to other members of other NFT communities that frankly aren't as good as this. Like, you have to understand that, like, a lot of people in this space come in because they just want to make money, and then
Yeah.
they get really burnt out, and then a lot of things happen poorly for them, and then they have nowhere to turn to. But like, how many of us have ever complained about something that happened in the sandbox? It's not about the sandbox's price for us. It's really about who's around us,
Yeah.
and it's like, I think that's huge. And so the more people we can kind of recruit into this huge community that we're trying to build, the bigger our games are going to be. And that's ultimately what it's going to be about.
Yeah. That's such like a valid point that like the Sand Fam, like it rightfully like named that, like it really is a family, whereas like there are other communities obviously out there that have strong communities, but like majority of the projects that I mean, I've I've been around a while. I've seen a lot of projects come and go, and like a majority of them are like you said, they're there for the money. They maybe built up some sort of community around it, but like as soon as things start getting hard, where do they go? Nobody knows. A lot of
Well, because they
times.
have nothing. They have nothing in common with each other, right? Like, that's
Uh-huh.
the big problem here. It's like the commonality is, hey, I got this picture, right? Whereas our commonality is, hey, we're telling stories together, and it's like it's like we're all kids going off and running into different rooms, drawing something, and coming back and going, hey, look what I made. It's like,
Uh-huh.
and I think that entertainment value, that fun that we all get out of that's what's really driving this community. Because at the end of the day, you never know what's gonna happen. We could all
Yeah.
someone could create something that you go, holy crap, this is so cool, like, everybody check this out, and then it gives you an idea to do something else, and then gives someone else an idea to do something, and we're all playing this. But what do you have in other NFT communities? You have this like dead silence wait of, what's this project doing,
Uh-huh.
right? And a lot of times you hear these robust roadmaps and everything, and then you compare it to the sandbox, and you're like, nothing holds water here. Like, you can't compare any community. I don't care what it is, the Bored Apes or any of these communities on Discord that have millions of members, whatever it is. like you can't compare their interaction to anything that happens in the sandbox. And it's
Right.
and without the sandbox even involved, like how crazy is this community? You know, like I went to New York and kind of started meeting some people and started realizing like this isn't just like online relationships. These are people that like are doing this that rely on each other so much that it's all in our benefit. It's created this really weird giant workplace,
Totally.
um, and yeah, I think it's crazy. I think the stuff that we're able to do here is far exceeded any capabilities that I thought I would ever have, for sure. Like
A
you
hundred
you
percent.
would have never caught me doing this 2 years ago, or even thinking about it.
Uh-huh. Yeah, and to like kind of just ride along with that, like the camaraderie that has been forming among everyone that's in this space building, and like we're all working on different things, but at the same time, like we're one big family that's like working together but on separate things, and like it's all like intermingled, and like it's just a super cool like I almost like obviously Sandbox had a vision, and the UGC side of things was the main like vision, but I can't imagine that even they um, could have expected this to play out the way it has, with how much the community has really come together to like support each other and help each other figure things out. Like I feel like a big part of the Sandbox success right now is based off of that one factor, and it's the supportive community that has formed around it. And I don't spend a whole lot of time in the Sandbox like Discord or anything, but so like I don't know how that like community is, but the people that I do interact with on a daily basis that are all met through the Sandbox have been stand-up people. So like um, it's just cool to see all the awesome people that are just kind of like you said, we're all here to like play and learn and figure things out together, and it's just a fun time.
Yeah, no, I agree. I think that if you consider, I mean, everyone's in it for the same reason, right? Like we're all trying to get in. We're all just trying to have some fun, make some games, and hopefully make some revenue in the end of the at the end of the day, right? The
Right.
fact that I don't think that Sandbox could have predicted that we would all tap on to that experience more than we are. What's the value of this property or this? And don't get me wrong, there's a lot of that on Discord, and I don't really hang out on Discord that much, other than to maybe answer some questions during alpha seasons. But it's mostly the community that's vocal and creating things, and the Twitter community that's around there, and the Twitch community, and everyone that's like, you know, what we're trying to do here is make it so that sorry, my dog is
Oh,
gonna go
good.
nuts here in a second. So what we're trying to do here is make it so that if there is anyone new that comes in and is like, hey, what's this all about? Like they see a lot of support around the stream. They see a lot of support around the game, and they're curious now. They maybe want to get more involved, and they're not so shy to maybe be more vocal where they are going to give support, and say,
Hmm.
hey, I do like this, and it's a lot of people tend to be quick to the trigger to leave bad reviews, but not good reviews, and so you got to like foster good reviews. You got to almost like say, hey, did you have a good time? And people are like, yeah, you know what, I did have a good time today. And if you have those kind of people in your audience, then you all of a sudden create bigger communities. Whenever someone accidentally stumbles in, every season, every like alpha season, you see a lot of new people coming into the sandbox. And when that happens, a lot of those stay and a lot of other trickle away. And then the next season gets a bigger community and a bigger community. And that's what we've seen since season 1, 2, and now hopefully 3, that this community gets bigger, and this like core community that's being created on throughout all the Twitch streamers and everything, that it somehow tries to foster a bigger growth. And hopefully, as creators, we all take these unique routes that we're all curious enough to play each other's games, where it's like, look, there's no competition here. We're not even worried about how well our games do against each other. We're just worried about making sure that this community gets bigger. you
Yeah.
know because if we do that, then we have a bigger audience to somehow hopefully reach out to bigger people. Like the biggest problem that we're going to have right now is competition amongst audience. Like it can't just be up to the sandbox to try to generate an audience, a user base. you know.
Totally.
So
Yeah, I think that's one thing that I've been trying to do, especially on TikTok, um, is like try and get other people to realize what is going on here and why this is fun, why this is cool, why this is different, like why you should actually be looking into this and excited for it. And it I think that is kind of, I mean, obviously Sandbox can do marketing, but like um until people see a community around something that is actually genuinely having fun and being entertained and everything that is happening here, it not not no amount of marketing is going to bring that big of an audience into something without that community base. So we're all a huge part of the success of the Sandbox, and it's cool to it's good. I mean, that's kind of how like basically any NFT Web3 project goes is if the community is behind it, it's successful. If the community is not behind it, it sputters and sometimes goes nowhere. So like it's that's just the name of the game. And I mean, right now a lot of it is NFT projects that are mainly just focused on hype and when's the price going to go up. But as more and more things begin to develop that actually have utility as far as a game inside of the Sandbox or this or that, like then we'll start seeing the cream rise to the crop, I think is the way you say that. Um, so yeah, I don't know. It's an exciting time, and I'm excited as more and more people start noticing the Sandbox and coming in. But one thing, actually, there's a lot of things I want to talk to you about. First off, though, second off, first off, this just popped in my head. I just realized that I don't know, and maybe it's just because I haven't been paying super close attention to, and maybe it is out there, but maybe it's not. So just tell me one way or the other. Do we know when the season 3 is kicking off?
no. So
No.
far, I think the most information that we do know is that the alpha pass that was revealed in the trailer says August 2022 on it.
Okay.
So
And it's
sometime in
10,000.
August is my best guess, which is, I would doubt, it's not coming out in July. I'll say that much.
Well,
There's 5 days left, right?
yeah.
So
Yeah. And that we'll leave it at that. I don't know if you know more or less, but I'm not gonna try and
I truly don't. I truly don't. Yeah, no, I wouldn't be able to say, but I don't know more information.
Yeah. Soon, TM. Yeah, I mean everything is coming soon.
Yeah, coming soon.
TBD. But and then I guess then to segue into the alpha that we know is coming, we don't know when. Is there anything fun that's going on with the Fungi fam that we can look forward to? I'm a shitty host.
Yeah.
And I haven't had time to look into into everything that's going on in your world either. So maybe this is already out there. But
No.
For those of you that
I
don't
haven't.
know,
I haven't said much about what's coming that's new. The social hub will be back. I have revealed that, and I don't know that I was supposed to, but the social hub is coming back, and it will be much the same that everyone remembers. But there's a few new things in there that I specifically added for people that were coming in new. It's there's the map is slightly different, not too different, but there's most importantly, there's going to be a lot of things that we're going to do on Twitch and everything. We're going to do a few contests. We have a few things to give away that are pretty significant that we haven't been able to give away before. I'll leave it at that because I can't say much more.
cool.
But so yeah, we're going to be doing a lot of stuff on the Twitch streams, on Twitter and stuff like that. And yeah, but it will be back. And yeah, I'm excited about it because there is something else coming that I can't necessarily say when, but I have kind of revealed it slightly on my stream previously. But we will have some assets dropping in a marketplace drop at some point during the season as well. So
very cool.
that'll be exciting.
I feel like I saw a hat or something. I don't know if that was.
You might have seen a hat.
I feel like I
Yes.
saw maybe a tweet or something of a hat that.
So the hat, I'll show you. I actually need to send you this picture.
Yeah, and let
This.
me know when you want things brought up on the screen. I feel like I'm dealing with delicate information, so I'm not gonna pull it up in
Oh
this.
no, dude, you're fine. If you want, yeah, let's just. I mean, if you want to talk about, that's what's coming in season 3, really. I have other stuff that we're working on in development that I haven't really spoken about or shown anybody about. But yeah, if you want to talk about that, I'm happy to. There's a few ways we could segue into this. So I sent you 2 images there. The first one and the last one that I just sent you. Um,
Okay, yeah, got it. Um, first of all, do you want to give us just so people that are watching that aren't familiar with the Funguys, just like a quick elevator pitch of like what it is and what they can expect and yada yada yada.
Yeah. Yeah, the Funguys is my elevator pitch for them is the Funguys is a level cast of mushroom folk that basically get into some hijinks. They each have their own emotional personality that kind of takes over their persona, and the cast is divided into what you would expect a normal person's full emotions would be, just individually spread out into these mushrooms. So you at the same time that in the in the the meta behind the Funguys is you don't know if you're a player tripping out, figuring out, talking to your emotions, or if you're actually experiencing these Funguys for what they are. But that's kind of like the
Uh-huh.
very high level look at the Funguys. But in reality, they are these like emotionally driven characters. Worry has his worries that kind of take over. Drippy is always crying about things, and it kind of personas a person and how they might be feeling.
Does so I know that you have while we're talking just about the Funguys. I know that you have the original Funguys, which are available on OpenSea, um,
Mhm.
and then you have baby Funguys. I have not been keeping up. I have a fungi. I'm trying to look up which
Yeah.
fungi I have.
No
But
worries, dude. I'll send you a screenshot here of all the fungi babies that we've made so far. Yeah, so the fungi was my kind of like so as I said, like I first got involved in NFTs. I just learned about the sandbox, but before that, I did make my first collection, and it was these trading cards that was like I was modeling them after Magic the Gathering trading cards, but putting the fungi on there, and I was like, oh, this will be cool. This will be something that people might collect and everything. And as I kind of started thinking about like more ways to do this, these PFP projects came out, and I was like, okay, I could probably figure out the code to try to like generate these. I know how to make layers in Photoshop. I know how to do all this stuff. Like, let me try to figure out if I can generate one of these collections. And at the same time, Hashlips had created and put out their source code for how they did it. So I looked at their code and kind of tried to rewrite, put my parameters in there, and put all the things that I needed in there. And it was like a month of trying to figure out how to get this crap to work. I'm not a coder. I'm not a programmer at all. I don't know anything about this. Like, it was me
uh-huh.
just forcing my way, learning through like Google and YouTube videos,
Yeah,
right?
YouTube University.
Yeah, exactly. So eventually I got it to work, but my computer was like having a really hard time with the script where it was like if I did anything like I tried to do like a 10,000 collection, it would just crash. I mean I have a crazy computer and I have like 64 gigs of RAM. I mean it's not the craziest, but the RAM was over exceeding its potential. It was just not good. So I opted for one of my lucky numbers is 25. I opted for 2,500 because I was like, I think my computer can handle that.
Uh-huh.
And it ended up being like some sort of a little bit more of a unique variable. And I ended up creating those. But like my pitch for them is like, if you have a fungi, what you're doing really is you're part of like, have you heard of the website Patreon?
Of course.
Yeah,
Yes.
so the way I look at NFTs really and these collections and everything is like
Absolutely.
this is a new Patreon, right? Like
Yep.
if you if you have a fungi in your wallet, that means that you are one of the people that support me as a person to continue doing what I'm doing. And in turn, I'm going to give you something in return because I want to, and these are the people that like what I'm doing. And so, like, this is how I'm trying to foster a community, right? And the ultimate of that is the fungi babies for me, where it's like, I ultimately want to create a one of one piece specifically for you of what you want and what you like, right? I can't do that for everyone off the get. So for me, the way that I do this is if you have a fungi baby, you just automatically generate Tuschay coin every month. All you have to do is participate once a month in the Discord by going and typing in a command and clicking the
Idiot.
green button.
I've
And
been doing that.
so yeah, so that's like pretty important if you want to get the Tuschay coins, and then the Tuschay coins can be used to spend on making a fungi baby.
Okay.
And so
And
I'll basically take two of your fungi, and most of what happens to the fungi is determined by the roles from the two parents. Depending on the breeding white paper that I did, there's a whole thing there. But then a huge influence on it is what you want. So we have I sent you a picture here of like the 17 fungi babies that we have right now, 18 of them, and each one is very unique, specific to what people want. And that's my favorite thing about this, right? Is like ideally what I'm doing is creating something that someone wants specifically for them. You know, like they look at it and it's like, holy shit, this resonates with me because like it means this for me, you know? And if that's possible, I'm creating art that someone will want to keep forever. And
yeah.
that's amazing, right? So if I can do that, I can create very unique things, and I think this is like, as you know, I can't speak to what other NFT projects offer, but in terms of what this my NFT project is hopefully offering, this is like a very personal artwork experience, right? It's like you get this like very personalized piece of art, and then from there we're going to continue making other things with these things, and it's hopefully very you know, it's different than just getting a random thing and being part of this huge community that doesn't necessarily care about you. I hope it's different for being a fungi, you know, and that's kind of what I'm trying to do. Besides the sandbox stuff that we're doing, that's my hope with this art community that I'm trying to foster.
Yeah, no, that's super rad. I love that approach. I think it's super cool and unique. It's something I personally haven't seen from other projects. I don't. I, I honestly I don't pay attention to very much anymore because
Me neither.
it's like
There's so much to do, man.
yeah, it's like I got a bunch of stuff to do on my own, and I know the things that I want to invest heavily in that I have conviction on that are going to be successful long term, and that's kind of my play as far as NFT goes. Like I know there is money to be made short term flipping and stuff, but that's just it's not my
No, I
forte.
can't keep track of that. I
Yeah,
can't keep track of that stuff.
just
I end up losing every time, dude.
yeah,
I
tons
just put
about
my
it.
head down and yeah, I just put my head down and just wait, you know, and like continue doing what I'm doing, and eventually, you know, something good will happen.
Yeah,
Like
I
that's my
mean,
policy right now.
yeah, that is totally my way of doing things too. Because like I mean that's where all my big wins have come from, anyways. Is like I bought a few things that I had high conviction on, and I bought multiples of them, and I waited 6 months to a year, and then they were worth a lot, and then I made good money. But it was like the day to day flipping thing just. I don't know.
Yeah.
It's just too much for me. But some people enjoy it, but yeah, I just I told myself stop. Like there's other
Nothing.
things you can spend your time on.
Yeah, there's nothing wrong with it. I just don't got the time, and like I don't have the time to do enough research to be able to do that successfully. You know, so it's like I'd rather leave that to the people that enjoy it and have the time and don't find it stressful, and do things that for me, like I try to plan long term on things. You know, I'm not a short term thinker. I think it's important to be able to think short term, but I have ADD and I'm notoriously terrible at it. So if I have a big picture in mind, I can generally try to drive myself towards something.
Uh-huh.
Um, but yeah, short term like flipping mentality is woof,
Yeah,
so
yeah,
far
yeah.
past me, man.
I vibe with that a lot because yeah, the ADD. I think some people may think it would make it better because you're just bouncing from thing to thing, but it doesn't. You're bouncing from thing to thing and not diving in enough to know about any one thing.
Yeah.
What
You're
I always have.
skimming the surface of everything, and skimming the surface of everything doesn't really let you figure out what's going on.
Yeah, exactly. What now I'm curious. So how long have you been doing art? Like has it always been digital art, or was there other arts? Do you have any of
It-
your other artwork other than the Funguys?
yeah, dude. Yeah,
I'd,
for sure.
I'd love to see it.
Um, yeah. So I'll put it up here. The the I've been doing art for a long time in the sense that like I went to school for it. I kind of like always like as a kid, you know, it was like my favorite thing to do is like I always wanted to do something related to it. My dream was always to have my own cartoon show, right? And my like I wanted like a Cartoon Network show on cartoon. Like I wanted something that was on TV with my own cartoons. And being an animator was hard because I wasn't a good enough artist. So I decided that instead of like trying to focus on animation, my ADD was like, hey, you know what we should do instead is learn all of the things in art and just do each one kind of good. You know,
Yeah.
don't ever master anything. Just do each thing a little bit good. And so I was just like, okay, so I started skipping around and like I mean, I did paper mache for a long time. I did like, sculpting, and then I did painting, and then oil painting, and then acrylic painting, and then watercolors, and then started trying to figure out what I liked most. And around 2010, 2011, in 2007, I originally took my first digital painting class with my teacher at the time. His name is Eric Vina. Shout out to Mr. Vina because that man is the key to my success these days. Because he showed me that like I was looking at people doing these like digital art pieces, and I was like, damn, this looks crazy cool, but like computer programs are hard, man. Like, how am I going to learn how to do this on the computer? And Photoshop was super daunting. And he just like sat me down one day. It was like, no, look, check this out. And I think within like a few days, like I had started learning the basics of like how to draw with like these tablets that he had, and we were looking at the screens and doing the things, and I was like really enjoying it. And it wasn't like a crazy transition, like oh my god, all of a sudden. But because I bounced around so many different art mediums, it was like I picked up what Photoshop could do really easily because it was like all of those different art mediums were in different tools on the program.
Yeah.
So like you had your watercolor brush, but then you had your paint brush, you had your pen tool, you had all these different things, and all of a sudden you can combine all the things that you learn into one place. And I was like, holy shit, like let me just dive into this for a little bit. And I got obsessed. And in 2010 I took my first class that was on this website called Schoolism, by this guy named Bobby Chu who worked on like Alice in Wonderland and all these like things. And I was like, all right, it's $100. That's a lot of money, but let's do it. Like, let's pay for the class. Took the class, fucking amazing time, like learning so many cool things. Ended up going out to meet Bobby in Colorado, taking an in-person class for like 3 days. It was like a seminar.
That's cool.
And just yeah, it was. And at the time, I met like all these artists that like I had been learning from, but never, obviously never thinking I would even meet them. And this school like kind of offered the ability to meet all of them. And it was just like we went to seminars that there was like 3 of them that you got to chat with. And I remember myself, I was 21 years old, 23 years old, something like that. And I was sitting there having a beer with a guy who made Kim Possible. And I'm like losing my mind because like I'm like, what's going on here, right? And it struck me that to be a good artist, you didn't have to be very good at art. You had to be expressive at your own style. And the question of like, how do I have my own style was like my biggest problem in my 20s. Like, I have no idea what style is. Like, how do I develop my own style in art? Like all this stuff. And I watched this really good video that was like, you know what you should do in order to develop a style is just draw the same thing for an entire year. Mm-hmm. And I was like, bet, all right, let's do it. And I started drawing mushrooms. And I started drawing like tons of different mushrooms and mushroom houses and little mushroom dudes and little mushroom things. And I was like, this is fun. And I ended up finding a cartoonistic style that combined a lot of these people that I liked style into one place. One of my heroes here is Scotty Young, and he does these pieces. This is from, um, oh my God, Fairyland. Wow, I can't remember the name of the book. My gosh, this is gonna haunt me. This is gonna haunt me. Hang on, I will find this. But I was like obsessed with his art style and what he was like able to do with some. And you know, you now in the age that we're in, where we can like watch these people draw live and all this stuff. Um, and I Hate Fairyland is what it's called. Great graphic novel. If you guys haven't seen it or heard about it, I highly recommend it. But um, I was obsessed with his art style, and then this other artist, Alex Solis, who has been in now. You know, I got to meet him during NFT NYC, and now I will be working with them on sandbox builds. Like, it's just been a crazy ride where it's like I wanted to be an artist and kind of create these cartoons, but I never knew what to do with it because I was never focused enough on one thing to be like, this is what I want to do as a career, right? So it was like, how do I just mix all this crap together? And that's what I was doing. So, you know, I was working as a graphic designer, doing illustrations on the side, and kind of didn't know how to combine those two things. And then started a marketing company where I could kind of do both of those things, you know. So,
Dude, that's a trip, like literally.
yeah,
That's super cool. I love just kind of hearing like the origin story of the art. Like that's
here I'll show you another piece. Like, so I did. This is like, I don't know if you see that painting right up there.
Yep.
That's like, you know, I did acrylics for a long time, and a show that you can find on YouTube right now that's still up there, and it's one of those things that you go, I should have taken this down, but I'm not going to because it preserves a memory. If you guys go to my channel right now and you go to my videos, if you go past like 10, 20, no, 15 videos, you see a show that was aired 4 years ago called Tiny House Studio Live. And every Monday and Wednesday, I would come home, and I lived in a tiny house, and I would stream on Twitch. I would make one full painting every uh, every Twitch stream, and it would take me like an hour, 2 hours. And it was like my version of Bob Ross, but in a tiny house.
Yeah.
And my buddy was next to me, and he would be playing guitar, and we would be chatting. And then, you know, I was streaming to one or two people, right? And I was like, and it was mostly to like who would become my girlfriend now, and then like my mom or something, you know. And
Yeah,
it was like,
yeah.
so it was like this funny like thing that it was like I started doing that. I broke out of my shell. One day I was like, the funniest thing is the video number one in the stream because I'm completely silent. I have no idea what I'm doing. I was like, I don't know what compelled me to come home that day and like I was doing it all on my phone. I put my phone up and I was like, all right, I'm just gonna go live and paint this right now. And so I started painting it, and I was like, you know, someone was chatting with me, and I was just having, you know, like kind of awkwardly looking at the phone and everything. And I did the painting, and I just shut off the video, and then I was like, I'm gonna do it again, and I did it again, and then again, and then it was like, now I'm doing the same thing that I was doing back then, but now with the Funguys, and it's like kind of come full circle where I'm now back on Twitch streaming to people. And like, if you look at how old my Twitch channel is and see the previous viewers on it, like you can see those days of the tiny house streams and where when I was doing them and like one or two people watching, and now I'm doing the same thing and I have this whole community behind it. It's ridiculous. It's just a weird thing that's like happened where it's like none of this could have been explained to me where I would have believed it or been able to follow a path. It all happened super randomly, you know?
Right. I mean, that's life, man. I mean,
Yeah.
it's you always end up places and you're like, I would have never believed I would have got here if you would have told me this 5 years, 10 years, whatever ago. Like, yeah, that's awesome.
It's
awesome.
super strange.
Yeah. Yeah, I bet you it's like looking back, it's just like when you start like connecting the dots, and it's like, oh, like that, and like things like that, like hearing those kind of stories and lots of different stuff from my life as well. Like it's just like, and this is totally my belief, but it's like everything happens for a reason, and, and sometimes you don't know that reason until 10, 15 years down the road, but eventually, like you start connecting the dots, and you're like, oh shit, like if I didn't do that,
I have a tattoo up here. It's my mother's handwriting. It says "Amor Fati." It's a Latin saying that says it's basically "love your fate," and it's a Latin saying that basically you don't know what to expect, so just love the result of whatever it is. You know, it's kind of almost a morbid saying in some ways, where it's like accept suffering and accept pain while you're going through it, because something's, like your fate is your own, like
Uh-huh.
you can't control it, therefore like love what's going on. And I think it's been an interesting model for me kind of in my life, where it's like I never try to plan too far ahead, because opportunities are often missed that way. And I think that it's hard to explain that to people, where it's like I might not have necessarily a 10-year plan. I'm really just rolling with the punches right now, and I might be doing that for the rest of my life. I
Yeah.
don't know. And it's something that to me is like chaotic, but keeps me entertained. Where I think
Uh-huh.
that there's unlimited potential. It's still that like kid feeling of like I might be a president one day, and it's like you never know what's gonna happen,
Yeah.
because I'm just keeping an open mind. And I think I don't know, that's really been the driving force behind all this stuff. Where it's like if you don't say fuck it, let me try, like you're never gonna know. And a lot of the things that we've been able to do so far has been that, yeah, it's a weird trip looking backwards, but at the same time, it's even weirder trying to plan forward from this stage, right? Because it's like you see all the steps that brought you to here, where it's like I'm not even saying that like I'm I'm anything, right? Like I don't feel like I've reached. I mean, I've been successful in my pursuits so far, but it's not like we're streaming to 100,000 people, and like we're the sandbox is open and we're making millions of dollars. Like let's be clear, we know how we're supposed to be humble here, right? Like
Uh-huh.
we're trying to establish like a brand within this ecosystem, and what's astonishing to me is that it's working, right? And
Yeah.
that's what I'm proud of right now, is that like people seem to be reacting positively to this, which means it could scale, which means like I could do this bigger, I could do more of this. And that's the exciting part to me, where it's like I don't know what the potentials of anything that we're doing are these days. I'm just trying to plan for what happens with the windfalls, and then the sky's the limit at this point.
Right. Yeah, and that's the most exciting thing about it is that you don't know what's next, but like you said, the sky is the limit, and anything could happen. Anything is
Yeah,
possible. Um,
yeah.
yeah. No, that's awesome. Thanks for just like sharing
I
that
like
side.
what
It's
Sparky
nice.
said. I like what Sparky said here. I just told my kid it's not about waiting for the storm to stop. It's about learning how to dance in the rain. I love that. Yes.
Totally. You always that's I mean, if you're not
You're
having
fair.
fun, you're doing something wrong. Gotta enjoy every minute. At least a little bit. What's this? Open sea. I'm gonna click on it. If you steal all my stuff, I'm gonna come find you.
But yeah, if you want to talk about a little bit about the games, I could show you guys a sneak peek that I haven't shown anybody before of
Yeah.
two different things. One is I'm going to reveal some assets that are going to be in the Fungi universe game, and the other thing is a game announcement that I'm revealing today,
Oh
that I
snap!
haven't talked about before, but it's the next game in the lineup of the Fungi's world. So if you want to pull up the first image
I was gonna
with
say
the
guide me on which one you want.
mushrooms, the
Uh,
panorama one.
yep, got you. 1 second. Boom. All right, it's up there. You're just waiting on
There
it,
you go.
probably.
Nice. So that's a first look into the well, second look actually. I revealed the earlier picture on the Discord, but that's a first look into the houses that will be in the Fungi Kingdom, Fungi Universe game. Um, Thanks to Wayward for her amazing work on this. Like I'm super blown away. But
They look awesome.
this is thanks, man. Yeah, these are all like functional houses that you're looking at here. So I'm really excited to kind of show people around. But yeah, the next game is shaping up to be really unique. Um, I'm so excited for it. Yeah.
When
I can also talk about a little bit about development schedule here too. So
yes.
um, obviously we know Fungi Kingdom Social Hub is done. It's launched. We've all played it. It's obviously still in alpha because game hasn't launched, right? But we are still we're still adding things to it and everything. But it is in a fully functional mode. The Fungi Kingdom game is currently in like workshop of development. It's basically done in development. What we're doing now is adding touches to it, and then but in terms of like the actual game functionality, it's all set. And then we have started development on the next game, which is what you guys are looking at here, is the Fungi Kingdom universe, or the Fungi universe, and that's the next game in the sequence chronologically. What happens after the Fungi Kingdom? So the Fungi universe takes place after that, and it's more of like a space exploration game. You guys are going to be traversing through different biomes and different atmospheres, and I'll kind of leave it at that for now.
Sweet.
And then the next reveal, if you want to pull up the next picture, is what happens after the Fungi universe. So after the Fungi universe, you guys are going to be playing a new game called Fungi Discovery. And so in Fungi Discovery, you will play as a fungi, and you will, for the first time, play as a fungi and try to figure out some things about being a fungi. And I'll kind of leave it at that. This is a sneak peek of that. This is kind of like, you know, it's going to be a very interesting look into the lore of the fungi, and it'll take you into different, like, after you play the Fungi universe, you'll discover a lot more about who the fungi are and where they've come from and what's going on with them story-wise. And then this is going to lead you into you being a fungi after having all that knowledge. What do you do now, right?
Hell yeah. Is what we're looking at right now, is that our character, or is that a character in the
That's just an example. My hope is for this game you'll play multiple fungi, multiple different ones.
Cool.
You'll go through different storylines of different fungi. If you've ever played those games that kind of switch between characters and kind of go progress through storylines like that way, that's what we're aiming for, where it's like you'll discover the true story after going through all the characters and like figuring out the end. But obviously we need some functionality there. But I fully expect that by the time this game is even in development, that we'll get there. We still have tons of development. So for those curious, we're in month 18 of development in the Fungi Kingdom, and we're still going. Like, so it's been, obviously we've been waiting for tools in that time, so it's not always been, you know, working. But yeah, so it's not a short amount of time to build these games, like fully functional, fully fleshed out, like hopefully 2-3 hour experiences if we play it right and then everyone does everything correctly. Like, we're trying to create games that are more experiences and less like go in hack and slash, which will also have hack and slash games. But for the fungi, a lot of the fungi series core games are going to be this, and then there's going to be other games sprinkled in between that kind of link all these games together as well. That's
super cool. I like the more experience. I mean, I like hack and slash. I like shooters. I like it all. But I do like a good story that you can get immersed in and play through. So that's exciting.
Yeah, that's what I was shooting for. I think something I learned over the last like year is how important that is. How important it is to have like some sort of story to tell going into this whole thing, right? Like, game development's cool. We can all make the coolest Tetris game in the world, but I think when you tie a story to Tetris, it all of a sudden makes people curious. It makes people want to play it and try to play your other games to try to figure out that link between those games. And that's what I'm really hoping for, is that each game doesn't leave people with a cliffhanger that makes them frustrated, but makes them want to explore the next game because they want to learn more.
Yeah.
And if I'm successful with that, then hopefully people will play my games for a long time. That's kind of what I'm hoping for, is that every time I release a game, people are like, hey, there's more information about that thing that they left us with last time. It's a new season to a series. Yeah, exactly.
Yeah. No, I think that's a great idea from a business standpoint and from a consumer standpoint. Like, that's what we want. We want to play something that we want to play more of. Like, that's why we play video games.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah. Exactly. And anyone out there that like is struggling to, I think that's a big problem with a lot of our game developers out in the sandbox right now, is I think that they feel like that's a difficult task to accomplish, to kind of come up with like an IP that has a story to it and everything. But truly, there's a million topics out there that, if you find something interesting, there's people that find the same thing interesting.
Uh-huh.
So it's like, whatever it is that you do, turn it into a thing that you do in the sandbox, and I don't know if that advice means anything to anybody, but if it does, if you thought of something during that, like that's what you should be doing, I think. And I think that that's kind of what I did. That's what's led me to be able to even be happy when I do all this stuff. It's like, because I'm still drawing the fungi to a degree, but I'm now doing it in different ways, and
Yeah.
so it still hasn't been a job to me. And I think if you can do something and you can tread that fine line of like getting paid for your hobby and it's still kind of a job, but your brain doesn't think it's a job, I think you're doing the right thing.
Totally. Yeah. No, I think you're nailing it, and and just keep on going forward with it until forever, hopefully. But yeah, no, that is the goal. I think that's always been my goal, is to have work not feel like work.
Yeah.
Um, we have, I mean, we've already hit the hour point, but I'm enjoying our conversation. But we should wrap it up here shortly. But I know we have a couple more things that you sent over. So do you want to just
Yeah,
hard segue into the next one?
yeah, dude. So if you want to put up the next picture, so what I'm doing this month until the end of next month is I'm holding the Fungi Top 10 holder, but more importantly, this is also for everyone else that wants to kind of join the fungi ecosystem. I'm also doing something fun for anybody that does purchase a fungi in the next for the next month until September 7th, which is the fungi birthday. So anybody that does purchase that gets this fungi party hat. And basically, for this is what I'm doing in order to figure out how we're gonna divide the fungi family fort, right? So one of the core experiences for the fungi family is going to be the fort. It's a giant 3x3 social hub. There's going to be all of the play to earn that I host in the sandbox is going to be held there. So anything that I do that's related to giving back to the community will be primarily hosted in that social hub. And the only way to get access to that social hub is by having one of these fun guys, right? So um, come in, I think when we move over to Polygon, as soon as we move over to Polygon, whenever that happens, we'll be sending over fungi family fort passes to everybody that has a fungi equal to the amount of fungi that they have. So if you have 50 fungi, you'll get 50 of these passes, and you only need one to enter the fort. So you now have 49 extra passes to give to people that you want that maybe not have a fungi or sell or whatever you want. So my hope is to kind of continue creating small little revenue streams where I can, where another benefit to being in the top 10 holder is like the penthouse that you get comes with 5 custom assets that I'll be sending you half of those assets so you can then turn around and put them up on the marketplace because maybe you only need one of them. So if we mint 500 chairs, you can get 250 chairs to then turn around and sell. And things like that will be a thing that. So I thought about this long and hard about how to do the fungi in the sandbox. What would we do with the voxelized assets? And what I've landed on is what I'm going to do is the fungi won't be your avatars. Eventually, we will create avatar versions of these fungi. But for now, what I'm going to be doing is the fungi are going to be functioning as NPCs. So when I mint them in games, the owner of that fungi will get the minted assets after I mint them, and that lets me kind of create this ecosystem where if you pay for the voxelized fungi with Tuschay coin, which is another benefit of the Tuschay coins, you have me create the fungi. I spend my gems and catalysts on it, and then I mint it and then send it over to you. Where there's another option that we're going to do where if you want, I can create the fungi for you, but then I just send you the Vox files. And as a fungi holder, you have the licensing rights to that fungi, and you're allowed to make your own fungi in the sandbox. Like nothing's stopping anyone here from making their own fungi in the sandbox. I don't have a problem with it. But if you want one that comes from and is minted from Touche Studios, this is the process to do it, right? And so, but at the same time, I still give you access to all your minted assets. I might be keeping 5 of them to use in future games. I give you the rest of them, and then you can turn around and sell it. So we have a revenue generator with the fungi family fort passes that you get one for each pass, one for each fungi, but you only need one. You get generated revenue from getting our assets minted and sent to you, where we spend our gems and catalysts. You don't have to worry about that, and your fun guys get minted, and you also can sell those if you'd like. So we're not just going to create one of ones with the fun guys. There might be 50 of each copy, or 200 if you want to mint them in rare. You know, whatever you want to do, it's up to you. And so, hopefully, being part of the Fungi family eventually creates it, makes it so that you have enough assets that are generated from this that turn around. Maybe you're not selling it for a lot of money, but you know you made your money back on the Fungi purchase, which was like $25, or I think right now they're $30. You know.
Yeah, I totally. I love that approach. That is definitely something that like I've juggled around too. Is like how can you like create assets and then just give them to the community and allow them to sell them. Like I think that's a great way to do it. So yeah, I think you're rocking it. That's super cool. We'll leave it at that. I'm excited to see where everything progresses and where everything goes.
Yeah, man.
Well, gosh, these hours go fast. I might have to turn these shows into 2 hours one of these days. But
Yeah, you might have to turn it into a podcast, you know.
yeah,
But
I
this is
know.
awesome, man. I really enjoy this kind of like long form conversation about everything. Obviously, you know, we're all family here. Like, come find me if you have any questions about anything. And like, I'm just trying to like every day I kind of wake up and try to think, what can I do that's within my grasp, within my capabilities, where I'm not overextending myself, but still being able to provide back to the community, you know. And you know, if anybody has any suggestions about what they want to see coming to the Fungi family for, or the community, or if you want me to do anything differently, like I'm all ears. Like, this is just an experiment for me and it's working so far, and I'm just trying to make sure that it continues to work, where you know feedback is critical at these stages. So yeah, I thank you all. Thank you, Krafter, man. This is awesome.
Yeah,
Thank you everybody who joined the chat. I love you guys. You guys are awesome, and yeah, guys, keep me going.
yeah. Damn, you crushed that outro. I think we'll leave it. We are just gonna leave it at that. You did the outro for me. Make sure you guys go follow. I'm sure you already are, but if you're catching the replay, make sure you go follow Tuschay Studios over on Twitter. And where else can people find you? Drop that and then we'll cut it off. Where can people
Yeah,
find
yeah. Just you know, go to Tuschay. It's good for the it's good for the algorithm. If you guys want to go to Tuschay.com, um, that'll take you to basically all the links that you need. Is that's not my website. Don't go to that. That's Tshay.com,
you?
Tuschay.com. And by the way, the pun there, if no one knows, is my last name is Shay. So Touche. I don't
Touche.
know. I thought it was funny. Thought it was funny, but that was back when people knew my name. All right, guys.
Yeah. Well, right on. Thank you guys. Thank you so much for coming on, and thank you guys all for tuning
Absolutely,
in,
dude.
hanging out, listening. It's always nice to have a crowd here, and we love all you guys. So yeah, appreciate you guys, and y'all have a wonderful rest of your Monday and a great week.
Bye, everybody. Thank you so much. Take it easy, guys.
Peace.